Mark stood by the stove, mindlessly stirring a risotto that had already reached perfect creaminess. He wasn't looking at the rice. He was looking at his wife, Elena, who sat at the kitchen island, her eyes glued to her phone screen. A tiny, familiar smile played at the edge of her lips. It was the same smile she used to give Mark 5 years ago when they were first dating, the one reserved for late-night texts that made your stomach do flips. But she wasn't texting Mark. Mark was right here, holding a wooden spoon like a weapon he didn't know how to use. It had started 3 months ago. The subtle shifts. Elena had always been careless with her phone, leaving it on the coffee table, the bathroom counter, anywhere. Now it was a permanent extension of her hand, always face down, always on silent. Then came the new wardrobe, expensive silk blouses and lace lingerie that Mark hadn't seen her wear in years. And, of course, the late meetings. Elena was a graphic designer for a mid-sized firm, but suddenly her clients required urgent, in-person consultations at 9 p.m. on Thursdays. Mark had tried to play the rational husband. We're just in a rut, he told himself. She's stressed. But the human heart has a terrible, accurate radar for distance. Smells good, Elena said, not looking up. The screen cast a pale blue glow over her cheekbones. Thanks. It's almost ready, Mark said. His voice sounded hollow even to him. Who's that? You're smiling. Elena's thumb froze for a fraction of a second. A classic tell. Then she smoothly slid the phone into her pocket. Oh, just Sarah. Sending me videos of her toddler trying to feed the dog. Chaos. Mark turned off the burner. The silence in the room suddenly felt heavy, suffocating. Sarah didn't have a dog. They had visited Sarah last weekend and Elena knew that. She was getting sloppy, or maybe, subconsciously, she wanted to get caught. Elena, Mark said quietly, leaning against the counter. Is there something you want to tell me? She blinked, a mask of perfect confusion settling over her face. What do you mean, babe? You're not here anymore, he said, the words tasting like ash. Your body is in this kitchen, but you're somewhere else. You've been somewhere else for months. Elena's expression hardened. The playful innocence vanished, replaced by a defensive coldness. Mark, if you're going to start with the jealousy thing again because I'm working hard. I checked the phone bill, Elena. The lie slipped out of his mouth before he could stop it. He hadn't checked the bill. He hadn't needed to. But the reaction it provoked was all the proof he would ever need. Color drained from Elena's face. She instinctively reached for her pocket where the phone lay hidden. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. The sophisticated, bulletproof exterior she had built up over the last few months crumbled in a single second. Who is he? Mark asked. Mark, it's not what you think, she whispered. The cliché felt like a slap in the face. Is it Julian? Mark asked, naming the new creative director she had been raving about since January. The one who just understood her artistic vision. Elena looked down at the marble countertop, tracing a vein in the stone with her fingernail. Her silence was a deafening confession. It was just drinks at first, she said, her voice trembling. And then it just got out of hand. I didn't mean for it to happen, Mark. I swear. We were just talking and he made me feel seen. In a way I haven't felt here in a long time. The admission didn't bring Mark any relief. The risotto sat on the stove, cooling and congealing, completely forgotten. He made you feel seen, Mark repeated, the weight of the word sinking in. So instead of telling me you felt invisible, you let someone else in. I'm sorry, she sobbed, the tears finally breaking through. She stepped toward him, reaching out a hand. I'm so sorry. It's over. I'll cut all contact. I'll quit the firm. We can fix this. Mark looked at her hand, then looked up at her face. He loved this woman. He had promised to spend his life with her. But as he looked at her now, he realized the terrifying truth about betrayal. It doesn't just destroy the future, it retroactively stains the past. Every smile, every late night, every I love you from the last 3 months was now a question mark. I don't know if we can, Mark said softly. He didn't yell. He didn't storm out. He simply walked past her, out of the kitchen, and into the quiet safety of the guest bedroom, closing the door gently behind him. Behind him, the timer on the oven began to beep, signaling that dinner was done. But the house they had built together was already empty. Don't miss part 2. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.